So as you heard before, I was diagnosed at the age of 17, and I went through a lot of personal trials that came with that. I went through some discrimination by people who I thought were my friends, and I went through some discrimination by my family members, specifically, my father, who was not very accepting of one, the fact that I was gay, or two, the fact that I did, after finding out I was gay, contracted HIV. But thankfully, I have been lucky enough to be surrounded by people who care enough to want to see me succeed and help me really keep my HIV under control and help me advance the goals I have in my life. And I would definitely say that HIV gave me the chance to really put a laser focus. I always knew I wanted to help people, but I'll say that HIV gave me the ability to really focus on where I wanted to help people. And that being said, I really want to talk about the importance of community support and how vital it can really be to making sure that young people, and for that matter, all people, matter, and they get through and have that community and family support to help them get through those tough patches that life throws us all. I'm pretty aware that all of us go through. And if we don't have the people, and the support and the love that we need to really get through them, I don't possibly see how we can be successful human beings. Moving on from there, I really would like to say that I am a very fortunate young person to be where I am, to have been given the podiums and the stages I've been given over this time period, to be able to really share with you my personal journey of living with HIV. And while it always hasn't been easy, I know that it was definitely something that I am very fortunate to have and have been given. I want to move on to mentorship, which is very, very important to me, because I can definitely say that if I didn't have some of the people I work with at my local ASO, such as my director of prevention program, my CEO, who took has a personal stake in my development and answering all the questions I had, not just from a professional perspective, but also just, some of the rough times I did dealing with my HIV status at such a young age, and of inviting me into their offices and just sitting me down and having these very open and honest conversations and guiding me along the way. I can honestly tell you, I really don't know where I'd be right now in my life, because I would tell you that if I were to think that I'd be one of the young faces in the fight against HIV now, looking back, I wouldn't have believed you. I would not have believed you. I had a plan with my life. I was going to go to the Army. I had completed my JROTC. I was a very good youth officer in the JROTC. And I was ready to sign my papers, do my 25 years, and collect my pension. But I definitely would say that HIV rerouted that in a very positive way, because while I had mentioned earlier that I had not had the best experience with some of the members of my family, there have been other members of my family who not only did not care about me being gay, who did not care about me being HIV positive, but more or less cared about the fact that I was able to persevere when I found out that diagnosis and overcome so many steps that come along with that, and I hate to do a plug here. I have to reference my aunt, who's a nurse for Cleveland Clinic, and I can honestly say that if she didn't show me the support and the love that she showed me every single day when I was being pretty much emotionally terrorized by some members of my family, and even people who I thought were my friends at the time, I could not be here before you speaking. And there are people even in the audience who have been so very helpful and have said words of encouragement to me, such as Holly Lindsay, such as Mr. Brooks, who I had the pleasure to speak before the President's Advisory Council a few years ago. And he said something very, very powerful to me. He said that I want you to know, and he looked me dead in the eyes, I want you to know that the story that he's told will not go on deaf ears. I want you to know that something will be made of the words you have spoken today, and that we will work very diligently to be able to help you through this process. I mean, can we give him a round of applause? He's an amazing man. And congratulations on your appointment, buddy. Going from there, I'd really like to move on to a question. Can I ask, how many people are under 30 in this room? Would you mind raising your hand? It's a beautiful thing to see. It really is, because there's a lot of places I've had the pleasure to speak and even conferences to go to where, unfortunately, the talk is focused on we really need to be connecting and engaging our young people. But if that is the going belief, why are we left out of the conversation? Why? I've never really understood that. And then to move to, as young people, if we are truly to take an aim at ending this epidemic, it falls upon us to actively shape our roles in the epidemic, to be present, but it also falls back upon our predecessors to provide us seats at those tables of power so that our voices are not only heard, but we have the ability to make those decisions, or at least craft those decisions that are made about policies that directly impact us. I mean, I know I very much would like to be at those tables, being a person who's now living healthily, virally suppressed for 5 years now with HIV. And moving on from there, I think that I should definitely comment on the fact that we really do, as young people, need to listen to our predecessors, because they hold a pantheon of knowledge that we can learn from. And most importantly, though, I think we all of us in this room, all of us around the world who do this work, and hopefully, and I know this might be idealistic of me, but as a society, we really need to become a united voice that really builds each other up and it doesn't tear each other down. We don't get anywhere by doing that. I think if we maybe looked at the fact that we share in the fact that we are all human beings, and while we may come from different races, we may come from different walks of life, we have to share this planet together, and it benefits us all to be on the same page. But once again, I understand that is the idealistic part of myself. But mainly, I think that we have to be a united voice for the main reason of because I think that we have a duty. We have a duty not only to ourselves, we have a duty to the generations hence, and we also have a duty to the unborn generations of people to come on this earth. And if we don't start to take it very seriously, and I think that we very much are, but if we don't start to move in a way that allows us to really and truly be accepting of all people from where they come and really meet them where they are, I really don't think we'll be able to achieve that very good goal of an AIDS-free generation. But from all I can see and from all I have been very privy to these past 5 years on the ground and working for an ASO, we are definitely getting there. And I just want to say to all of you personally, it warms my heart to see so many very high-level and important people who care so deeply about this issue and want to do all that they can to help not only myself, but everyone who is living with HIV/AIDS, achieve the goals that they need to and help them through this process.